Prime Field.
South Carolina lost its depth, but the film and the math say the sky isn't falling. The bench mob is gone, the rotation is down to 7, and everyone wants to talk about fatigue and foul trouble. The real story is this: the quantity dropped, but the talent floor never moved. Possession by possession, this is still a roster that outclasses most full top 10 lineups. For 5 straight years, South Carolina's identity was simple: the bench. Dawn Staley could sub in 4 at a time and never lose pressure. Last year's title team turned games into line changes. Then the offseason hit like a wrecking ball. Fawiley to LSU, Kitts to injury, Fagan to the WNBA. And the media built the narrative. This roster is too thin for a title run. That's the emotional story. The numbers tell something completely different. Look at who is actually left in the 7-player core. Start with the recruiting composite because that's the cleanest GM mode lens. Raven Johnson, number 2 overall. Joyce Edwards, number 2. Agat Maker, number 4. Mariam Dowda, number 13. Tania Latson, number 14 and the number 1 transfer in the country. Tessa Johnson, number 25. Adultac, mid-20s and what's projected top 12 pre-injury. That's an average ranking around 12.3 for the entire active rotation. All 7 are top 30 level talents. 3 of them are top 5 recruits. Now zoom out. Look at NC State's starters. After Zoe Brooks and Zamaria Jones, the talent dips into the 60s in unranked territory. Iowa State starts players ranked in the 30s, 50s, and multiple unranked guards. Those starting 5 sit in the 40-60 composite range. South Carolina's 7th woman would start for most of these teams. That's not a depth crisis. That's a minutes distribution question. The panic isn't about quality, it's about comfort. Now shift from recruiting sheets to the film. The other big miss in the narrative is how this roster actually wants to play. Old South Carolina lived with 2 non-shooting bigs on the floor: Cardozo, Watkins, Sanabria. Watch those lineups. 2 bodies in the paint, both short corners occupied. Great for offensive rebounding, brutal for spacing. Now watch the clips with Mariam Dowda at the 5. She's 6'4", and shoots around 32% from 3, and she shoots them with intent. When she lifts above the break, the weak side big has to honor her. The low tagger is late. Defenses can't clog the lane. Run Latson off a high ball screen in that setup. At FSU, she was dropping over 21 a game, driving into crowded lanes. Put her in a 5-out shell and the lane becomes a runway. The key stat isn't points, it's effective field goal percentage on drives. With Dowda spacing, the lane is cleaner, the help is later, and the efficiency climbs. Watch the possession with Edwards at the 4, Dowda at the 5. You get a ghost screen, a switch, and a driving window that didn't exist last year. This isn't accidental, it's structural. The obvious counter is, can they survive the minutes? That's where Latson's background matters. Go back to her 40-point performance against Virginia Tech. She played all 40 minutes. No bench support, no platoon substitutions, and every defensive eye loaded on her. She thrived. The system now elevates her into a role she's lived in before. High usage, heavy minutes, relentless rim pressure. She didn't come to South Carolina to be protected. She came to be weaponized. Raven Johnson's role shifts too. Last season, she was the conductor of an orchestra. Initiate, distribute, press, hand it off. Now she's operating like a pro lead guard. In late clock possessions, she's hunting mismatches, posting smaller guards and taking mid-range pull-ups when teams overplay Latson. Her usage rises not out of necessity, but because Staley trusts her to close. The front court is thinner, but more versatile. Edwards can switch 1 through 4 and play small ball 5. Tack gives length and rim protection. It's not the same bench model, it's a different system entirely. If South Carolina makes another Final Four run with a 7-player rotation, the old criticism disappears forever. This is the stress test of the Dawn Staley era. Can she win without overwhelming depth? Can she win without the Army? This version of South Carolina is built on elite efficiency, not overwhelming bodies. Every possession matters more. Every substitution matters more. Every scheme tweak matters more. This is pro-style resource management. The true battle this season isn't South Carolina versus LSU. It's South Carolina versus the narrative that depth is the only thing that made them special. The recruiting composite says otherwise. The spacing says otherwise. Latson's track record says otherwise. If this group holds up, the conclusion is simple. South Carolina didn't collapse when the bench thinned out. They evolved. They traded overwhelming force for surgical precision. And heading into March, that's a different kind of problem for everyone else.
Prime Field.